Welcome to AP Workshops. Welcome to my review of the RS660. Welcome to AP Workshops and welcome to the third attempt at trying to film my first impressions. How kind of weird is that, but absolutely true. Welcome to my third attempt at trying to give you my first impressions of my new RS660. So as we're looking at it at this particular point in time, we have got the all new parallel twin 660 engine, which I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, it's just, lopped off of a V4. It isn't. It's absolutely not. It's a completely new engine, without question. It's got a 270-degree crank on there, which gives it that kind of sound, which makes it sound a bit like a V4 engine, or sort of half a V4 engine, but it's a completely new engine. If you have a quick look sort of for where the swinging arm pivot actually bolts to the end of the crankcases, which means this particular engine is what's considered to be a stress member. 180/55, 120/70 tyres, which means kind of we're still harping back to that sort of mid-sports thing that we're going on there. Still just absolutely sort of good, solid sort of tyre sizes, which you can get anywhere, really kind of cheap and easy to find, no problems. New TFT dash, which we've been working on. 320mm discs, Brembo radial calipers. I believe, not kind of sure, I've heard of a different couple of people's opinions on what was going on with the shock absorbers and the forks up the front. The forks up the front are absolutely brilliant. I've been there for a ride on it before, like I said. Little bit stiff when they came out the crate, but I'm riding this without messing with it whatsoever. So this is just how it came out the crate, just to give you first impressions. Obviously the rider aids and their adjustability on it is absolutely incredible, but as it sits at this particular point in time, I'm just going to give you the ideas about how it's going out the crate. So 270-degree crank, parallel twin engine, runs and sounds really, really nice. Let's stop talking about it and get on with it, shall we? So let's have a look, because I talk too much, far too much. Let's ride it. Be a racer. Okay. Insert your personal code. Exactly the same as it is on V4 and V twins. Immobiliser override code. So 61 miles. I've done 40 of those. Well, I've done pretty much 60 of those as it goes, but I've done 40 of those on the other two road tests trying to get this right, but it is freezing cold. I'm going to ride sensibly. I've got my winter gloves on as it goes. So let's have a look. As it sits out of the factory, the footrests are quite low, which makes it really, really comfortable. A kind of a nice town bike, or something that you could use on a regular basis. So it kind of feels familiar. I don't know if that sounds like a weird thing to say. Rear so the rear sets are quite low, and they're kind of clip-ons. I don't know if you've noticed, there's no clip-ons on them. It's all kind of molded into the top yoke, quite high compared to what you'd be expecting. Switch gears all laid out here for you. So this is going to be like I said, the dashboard control. I'm not going to fiddle with that. Like I said, I just want to give you the impressions of the bike straight out of the box. I don't want to mess about too much with it. Like I said, straight out of the box. Let's just see how it sits. Okay. Apparently there's 3 different types of rider modes. I've not been into it at all. 3 different rider modes. Adjustability, which is just going to be epic. I'm really looking forward to spending some time on that and just getting stuck into that one. No dramas. Just around the estate, the industrial estate, it feels none of the snatchiness that you'd get on a V-twin or a V4. Brilliant. Epic little bike so far. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, I've ridden this before, so I know exactly what it's like. Trying to get my head around the sort of the fact that you don't use the clutch to change gear. That kind of thing is just still finding it quite a foreign concept. But then that's just me being old, I suppose. 6 degrees out there. We're not going to be riding quick today, ladies and gentlemen. Not only that, just because it's illegal to do that kind of thing on the road. Excuse me. But also, it is 6 degrees and it is freezing cold. Double back brake just to keep that under control. Just, you know what, back brake, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And a Aprilia with a back brake. Terrific. Levers are set up a little bit high for me, but there we go. Let's have a look. See if we can find neutral. Neutral at a standstill. Happy days. Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Neutral at a standstill. Epic. Checking the mirrors. The mirrors work. Holy crap. I can just see like half of it in the shoulders, but they actually work, which is brilliant. Let's have a look. The indicator switch is in the same place as V4, not V-twin. Again, another really strange concept to somebody who rides a lot of V-twins. Let's have a look. You remember that? I'm probably going to get that wrong in the future. Pretty standard stuff. But we're getting neutral at a standstill. The indicator switch is in the right place. The transmission isn't snatchy. My God. Do you know what? I'm not going to lie to you. Like I said to you, I've ridden this bike before. I know it's good. I know where the faults are on this. I know what the problems are. So me talking to you about it like it's my first impression. Let me just shut the visor down. There we go. It kind of does seem like a bit of a fib, but do you know what? I'm not fibbing. I'm kind of just going to give you my first impressions, but first impressions that are not quite first impressions. 40 mile an hour. Oh, look at that. I'm behaving myself and everything. Quick shifter works quite low down as well. Dynamic kill time. I wonder if that's what's going on there. Okay. God, it's freezing cold out there today. It's slippery as I think this is about as gnarly as it gets when it comes to riding. So all you winter riders out there, big respect to you boys and girls. Big respect. I'm absolutely a pussy. I have a choice these days. God, look at that, an empty bit of road. Okay. Here we go. Roll on. 5,000. Change gear. Slick as. That's nice. I like that. Yeah. Front end feels a little bit stiff, like I said to you before, man. We just need to do a little bit of setup on it just to get it right, but this is out of the crate, so it just feels a little bit like it's bumping over the bumps at sort of, this is 70 miles an hour, probably a little bit too fast for this, but you know what, like I said, I think just a little bit of preload off it, just to let it move a little bit. This is road legal speeds we're talking. I mean, if you want to start pushing it, and I have gone out and kicked its face in, and then basically it starts to get a little bit soft, especially the back shock. In fact, the back shock actually faded to the point where it kind of stopped, slowed down and stopped just to check to see whether the back wheel was loose. So I've spoken to, well, I've not spoken to Aprilia directly about it, but I've spoken to the guys we bought the bike from. They put a warranty claim in for it, and it's going to be dealt with. So 70 miles an hour. This tends to be where people are going to sit. Now this is between 4,000 and 5,000, and I can feel just a little bit of hesitation, just a little bit of, tiny little bit of a surge in, just a little bit. Nothing drastic, just enough to, there you go. Oh, piss off. I hate that. That pisses me off, so let's just try something. Above 5,000 RPM. 74 miles an hour, 5,000 RPM, gone. Now I wonder if that's just basically, like I said, throttle calibration, a very, very small movement in the throttle rather than a fueling issue. Interesting. I don't know, man, but I think, to be honest with you, if we're going to sit at this kind of speeds, then I might just change that gearing just to see how that feels. Just if, like I said, if this is going to be a road bike, then this is where it's going to sit. This is where it's going to spend a lot of its time. 4,000 RPM there, just butter smooth, just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Look at that, mirrors you can see in, happy days. Okay, so this is gonna auto blipper. We're going left here because this is my old road test route. So, oh, look at that. Auto blippers. What a foreign concept to me. Oh, where are you going? Thought the cyclist was going to come and have an argument then. That was changing without a clutch. I love it. Now, I've seen some films recently on YouTube of the guys that were doing the design work on this engine. That guy knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. He's packaged this engine into a beautifully light, sort of nimble, small chassis. This is definitely sort of designed to work and sit at the sort of the Italian, Spanish, German, Netherlands, sort of European, on the continent basically. There's quite a popular, it's quite popular to have sort of these parallel twins, mid-weight parallel twins. They make a lot of sense. In the UK we tend to be a sports bike fraternity. Just recently, I suppose, if you think about it, adventure bikes, because adventure bikes are really selling quite well. So we tend to be sort of wrapped up in those sports bikes, and this is because it's not a massive sort of sports bike, 1000cc plus sports bike. People tend to be dismissing it, but those people who tend to be dismissing that probably haven't ridden it yet, and probably only just ride on tracks, which is fair enough. Look at these tyres, man, these tramps. God, I hate that. So, they'll probably just do track days, and if they probably just do track days, then I kind of get it, and I get where you're coming from, because it ain't a 1000cc V-twin, and it ain't a 1000cc V4. Because that would have unleashed all manner of hell. That would have unleashed all kinds of frightening amounts of power if I was to do that. But this isn't. It's a 660 parallel twin. It's a street bike. And you know what? In this nimble little chassis, this nimble little frame, 99, they're claiming 99 brake horsepower at the crank, which kind of, if you look at about 10 to 15% sort of decrease to the back wheel, it's going to leave us with about 80 to 85 brake horse at the back wheel. That's a good road bike, man. That's not going to overwhelm people. That's a good road bike. That's just going to, it's going to complement people. And I tell you what, I reckon if you was to get this into the twisties, or maybe even a track day like somewhere like Mallory, or somewhere really tight. I mean, it's certainly not Alton Park or anything like that, it's massive, or Silverstone, but if you're going to Mallory or sort of a tight circuit, Three Sisters, maybe something along those lines, this bike. That auto blipper's lovely. The quick shifter's butter. The auto blipper's amazing. I'm absolutely buzz off this bike. It's just, in the real world, this bike's a brilliant bit of kit. I wish we could go and sort of start to smoke it around a little bit. I'll have to get Amber to I'll have to get Amber to blank out the maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't ride like that, but you know, look. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, so back to yeah, that quick shifter and that auto blipper, just lovely bits of kit, man. That's just great. Better than the V4? Don't know. I've heard people muttering that it is better than the V4, you know what I mean, and the APRC system is better than the V4, and is it really necessary? I saw one guy who did a test on this in the States, who said absolutely no need for any engine management system. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Absolutely no need for this kind of traction control system on one of these bikes. Rubbish. You absolutely couldn't be further from the truth. These bikes, if you were to start riding it like and kicking its head in like it was like it's capable of doing, I reckon you can absolutely, oh, I can smell the diesel on the floor. This bike will bite you on the bum. It is powerful enough to upset you. I absolutely love it. Here we go. Here we go. Pull out anyway. Yeah, it's okay. Just give the guy a bit of space. He's got some... there's no need to get all aggressive. I've seen it happen so many times. No need for it. Chill out, man. Chill out. There's the diesel smells again. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. Just great, that silky smooth gear changes. That's so nice. Like I said, I think if you were doing this kind of speed on a V4, you'd be complaining. You'd be complaining. In fact, my wrist would be complaining, and my arms and my back would be complaining, definitely. Because they're just not designed to go at this speed. But because of the way the chassis is set up, nice. Just feels nice. Just feels nice. Okay, look at the greasy roads, man. God, this is sketchy. Where was I? I was rattling on about something again. I can't remember what I was rattling on about. I've got to lift the visor up because unfortunately my pin lock's out at the moment, and my pin lock's out, and I've absolutely can't do with steaming up visors, so I can't see then. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of the riding position on it's very friendly. Friendly? Yeah. So we're kind of doing normal road riding, which is something that a lot of us don't do very often, that ride sports bikes. Normal road riding. This bike, I think Aprilia have definitely pitched this at the sort of at the street bike market. This is not a sports bike as such. The riding position doesn't give you that kind of idea that it's a sports bike. It looks sporty, but it's kind of street bike. I think I was banging on about the fact that a lot of this bike could make sense, or this bike makes sense for markets on the continent, definitely. European continent, just kind of makes sense there. There's a big market for it. There's a girl I follow on YouTube who's absolutely brilliant. Itchy Boots she's called. She travels around the world on a CB500. Fantastic. Look her up. She's Norley, her name is. She's just the most cheery person who is clearly understands how blessed we are to be able to ride bikes. And she knows this, and she rides a parallel twin, and she does real world riding, and it kind of, I can't help but think of sort of how she rides and what she rides and why she rides and where she rides, and it all kind of makes sense. This bike would do the same. It just looks a lot sportier, which is why people are getting confused. 650 Kawasaki. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. The 650 Ninja, I think, slightly less powerful, kind of fits into the same category. Again, just doesn't have this level of sophistication, this level of kind of technology that comes with it, and it kind of. Let me back up a little bit. I got a bit too close. Sorry. My dad's quite a proficient rider, a very proficient rider. And he'd be yeah, you could hear him just shouting at me. Sorry, Dad. That's what happens when you have to rattle for that's what happens when you have to rattle on for too long. But I'm absolutely blessed to be able to do this, because this bike is amazing. Is it something that I'd spend my own money on? Yeah. So there's a couple of lads that when this whole lockdown nonsense is done with and done for, I'm going to go and visit. I'm thinking I might actually use this to go and visit them. Spence on the Isle of Man. I'm thinking I might go and visit him. I might ride this over there, because I don't think this would hurt. think this would be usable. Whoa, you're big. Got me bum clench a little bit then. Wasn't concentrating. Okay, wind protection at speed. Clearly there's a wind protection. This like screens like a double bubble. I'm not going to go mental around here because obviously I've got to try and video this, but wind protection. Now I think I'm what they call a unit. I'm not small. I'm 5'11"-ish, 5'10", 5'11"-ish. Depending on whether at the start of the day or not. My head's not getting knocked about. You might notice that it's not getting jumped about, like as if you used to do, kind of sit up normally or you were riding a V4, you get your head would be knocked about. None of that. The protection's really good. Lifesaver. Don't forget your lifesavers, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. There we go, just around 5,000, that little hesitation again. The only criticism I can find so far. That and the rear shock, that is absolutely appalling. But I'm sure they're going to fix that. I'll be happy to fix that, no problems. Yeah, there's no pressure on my chest. I can feel the wind blast here. If you look, I can feel where the wind blast comes out. So from behind that, you can. Oh, did you see that then? That was pretty bad. The wind blast's here. If you run your finger out from the screen, you can feel where the aerodynamics are running the screen up. That's pretty good. That covers me. 70 miles an hour. Oh, look at that. That's awful. So changing the gearing, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go either up a 2, down a 2, something along those lines, or find out what it sits like at the top. I'll find out where it sits at the top end and see what we can do for the gear. You always gear your bike for the fastest straight. I shouldn't say things like that, should I? I'm not, for crying out loud, I'm not racing it. Come on! Yeah, just at 5,000 RPM I can feel it hesitating. There, look. That's grotty. Whoa, whoa, look at that. Look at that. Just above 5,000, no problems. Oh, that back shock's bouncing like a bastard. Look at it. It's terrible. You can see the... This is just my shock. This is not a representation. Now I've done my research, I've gone and had a look at other people's reviews, and I've seen a lot of diplomatic reviews that unfortunately journalists are tied into. Well, I'm not a journalist and I don't care who I upset or who I please. I'll tell you the truth the way it is, because I've got nothing to lose by lying or covering up anything. I truly believe it's just this shock that's going to give you a problem. That's going to give me a problem. I don't think this is a normal one. You can see it bouncing. It's just not right. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's how you deal with it that counts. You can't get it right every time. It's how you deal with it that counts. So back into the traffic, and I'm going to lift my lid up. Look at that back brake. Let's see if we can get neutral at a standstill. Look. What's this? Oh, beautiful. First second. I love it. Back in the real world. Visor down so you can hear what I'm saying. Okay. Oh, there you go. It's gone out and done it again. So one of the things that I found out about was this switch here is the high-low beam switch. It's really easy for you to knock that while you're going for and moving the clutch. So I'm going to try changing that just so I can stop doing that. It's just adjustment. It's nothing more drastic than that. My ham-fistedness. 30 miles an hour. 35 miles an hour. This is where you're going to have your problems on one of the sort of big V-twin and V4 bikes, but it's just nothing. There's just nothing to complain about. So if you're man or woman or person around town who wants a stylish looking Italian motorcycle that's going to not overwhelm, that's going to complement street riding, that's going to give you kind of feedback and the feeling that you want from a bespoke, boutique brand. Am I going to put that out there? Is Aprilia a boutique brand? Maybe, I don't know. I think this bike is kick-ass. I absolutely love it. I'm so pleased we bought one. The colour, the Reggiani replica colours, just amazing. I just love it. I love everything about it. I love the fact that it's not perfect, and I love the fact that we're going to fix bits of it. Let's see if we can get neutral again. Okay, at a standstill. Clutch in, neutral. God, I love that. Mr. Engine Designer, I think you've got it. It doesn't overheat. Or am I saying that? It's freezing cold out here, but it doesn't overheat and melt you as well, which is really nice. And the seat height's quite low. I'm flat-footed, 31-inch inside leg. I know Amber sat on it and she's not overwhelmed by it as well, which is great. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a switcheroo here just so we can go home. Yeah, I think that was it's wet and I'm kind of inspired. Yeah. Conclusions, it's £10,149 retail. We got this bike from Midland Scooter Centre. We got this bike from Andrew, Dave, and Andy in the workshop. Andy Dixon, he's one of our regulars on our Facebook page. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for all of your support. Thank you so much for making me excited about buying this. I really, really appreciated it. It was just so nice to be able to go to a bike shop that looked after us and that wanted to be a part of the experience of buying a bike. You just don't see it very often. We did try other dealerships. One guy actually put the phone down on me. Loser. Awesome. Stay in touch, ladies and gentlemen. I really, really appreciate your feedback on this one. Let us know in the comments below how you feel about what you think about this bike. Don't tell me how it handles if you haven't ridden one. I really, really appreciate it. Stay in touch. My name's Griff. Talk to you soon.